I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Meet the Candidates Night, hosted by the West Lafayette Chamber. My name is Bo Fortune, President of the West Lafayette Chamber. This is Trevor Hawkins, Vice President. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight as we hear from the candidates. Chuck Ellis, Dean Hettinger, and Charles Selders as they discuss their vision for the future of the county. Each candidate will have a 5-minute introduction, followed by a random draw of a question. They will have 5 minutes to answer that question. After they have concluded that portion of it, there are 2 questions that each candidate will answer. So let's go ahead and we'll start introductions. First up is Mr. Chuck Ellis.
Okay, Bo, thanks for organizing this tonight. I appreciate it, and all you folks who came out, appreciate that. Some of you came from the far ends of the county. Thank you very much. I'm going to do my best to give you a good idea of who I am and what I think and what I hope to do for Coshocton County tonight. So if you don't know me, the first thing you got to know about me is I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I believe that the Lord has guided my life, my past, present, and the future, so whatever happens with this election is in God's hands. So that's the first thing you got to know about me. Second thing is, I grew up in Pennsylvania, Washington, Pennsylvania. My dad was a union steel worker. My mom was a school secretary. After high school, I went to Penn State University, got a bachelor's degree in mineral economics. Then I went to work at Waynesburg College, and that's where I met Sally. And when we got married in '84, so we've been together 42 years now. We came out here to Ohio in '87 to work at the family cheese business. And so we've been there for going on 40 years. When we came out here in '87, it was a pretty small operation. We had 9 employees. We made about 2 million pounds of cheese a year. And the Lord has been good to us. We are now making about 11 million pounds of cheese a year, and we have 65 employees. So we have been able to grow the business substantially, and we're very grateful for what Coshocton County has allowed us to do. Our employees are mainly from Coshocton County. We have a few from up the road in Baltic area, but most are from Coshocton. A lot of the service and construction people we've used over the years have been Coshocton people. So Coshocton has been good to us. Besides the business, some of the other things I've been involved in, as far as industry goes, I've been on several different boards. The Ohio Dairy Products Association, the Milk Sanitation Board, which is overseer of milk regulations for the Department of Agriculture. I was also in the Ohio Swiss Cheese Association. And then locally, I served on the Ridgewood School Board from, I think, '96 to 2000, when the new high school was being built. And then at present, I'm still on the board of the Salvation Army in Coshocton. Through all those years, we were very active in 4-H, youth sports, and kept very busy with our 4 kids. We now have 9 grandkids. 6 of those live here in Coshocton. One's in Michigan, the other 2 are up in Tuscarawas County, which keeps us very busy as well. We're still staying involved in local activities. In 2000, Sally and I helped found the Friends of the Coshocton County Junior Fair, which was a program to raise funds to help kids doing livestock projects at the sale. And COVID came, the ability to have the sale was in jeopardy. So over the last 6 years, we've been able to raise over $60,000 that has gone back into the pockets of the kids who sold their animal projects at the Coshocton County Fair. So that's kind of a little bit about who we are, what we've been doing. I do want to say that I think Coshocton County has been in kind of a flatline situation for the last 20 or 30 years when it comes to economics. I'm hoping that if I'm elected, I can help stimulate some growth. I have some ideas on what that means. But I do think that we have to keep in mind the number 1 industry in this county is agriculture. And that's important to me. I've been involved in the ag industry as buying milk from dairy farmers all over eastern Ohio. I think I have a good finger on the pulse of what agriculture needs to prosper and grow. but I also know that businesses need some things from the county to prosper and grow as well. And then finally, you'll probably hear me talk a little bit more about families. Family is important to us, and we want to see families come to Coshocton, stay in Coshocton, and be here for multi-generations. And there's some things that we need to do to make that happen. So we're going to be talking about those things tonight, I hope. How am I doing? Did you signal me? Yeah, okay. I'm just about out of my 5 minutes. But so that's what we want to talk about tonight. I thank you for coming. And if you don't get your questions answered during the session, I'll hang around afterwards and be glad to talk to you then.
We'll let Chuck draw a question here. We'll ask him. He'll have an additional 5 minutes to answer. Question for Chuck is, what are your top three priorities if elected, and how would you measure success in your first year?
Well, I saw this question on the list of questions, and I decided right off that I have 4. I can't answer in just 3. I've got 4. Is that allowed, Bo? Okay. First off, I already mentioned business growth. Okay, if we go back 20 years, 5 or 30 years ago, we know that we lost some major employers in this county. We lost GE, we lost Pretty Products, we lost Ansel Edbont, and we lost Stone Container. You put those guys together, it was well over 1,000 jobs disappeared. Now we've had some growth. Wiley's has done a great job bringing business back. Cliffs is doing well. McQueen is doing well, but we have a lot more ground to make up for what happened back in 30, 40 years ago. The next thing, my priority would be to see agriculture prosper. You know, agriculture is responsible for almost 50% of the land acres in our county is agriculture related. Some of it's prime crop ground that is being used as crop ground, and it should be that. But there are other portions of agricultural land that could possibly be used for some other purposes. Next thing, third priority is the county budget. As you already know, the county's got some financial problems. And the way that it's been reacted to so far is that there's been budget cuts. A 4.5% across the board announced budget cut took place the first of the year, and all the departments are adjusting to that, which needed to be done. But I know from business background that whenever you have hard times in business, you do have to get tight on the money. You have to hold on, no needless spending. But that doesn't solve the problem. Whenever businesses start to struggle financially, you can cut back all the money you want. But unless you go out there and find more business and bring it in and generate some more revenue, that business is not going anywhere. And I think that applies to Coshocton County as well. We can be very fiscally conservative and watch our money, watch our pennies. But unless we start bringing in some more revenue for this county, we're going to continue to struggle like this. The fourth priority is family thriving. And this is tied into our housing problems. We have not done well in building new houses in this county. In fact, 80% of the houses in this county are built before 1970. We're not seeing new housing, and if you look back at what that means is we're losing population, we're losing our young families. There's not opportunities for them to work, and there's not opportunities for them to live. So we need to find ways not just to bring jobs back, but also to build homes where our people can have a good place to live, good communities. And some of the stuff that's happening with the new water lines going out to Conesville, going up to Warsaw, may open up some opportunities for that to happen. So I'm hoping for some housing development to occur. So that makes my four priorities being business growth, ag prosperity, budget operating in the black, not the red, and families thriving. I think my business perspective is going to give the Commissioner Board a good, different perspective. Independent thinking, a little bit different than the composition of the guys that are there. The guys that are there have their own areas of expertise, but I think I bring a different perspective that I think is the key for Coshocton County turning around and getting better. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Dean Hettinger. He'll have 5 minutes, and then we'll do a question with him.
Well, thank you, Bo, and thank you to the chamber. Thank you, Ridgewood, and thank you to all of you for coming tonight. Yes, I'm Dean Hettinger. I am running for county commissioner, and every time I talk here lately, at least in the last year, I felt like it was a job interview, right? Because that's what I want. I want your vote. I want your support. At the end of the day, I'm here because I want you to hire me as your county commissioner. And in a job interview, I think it's important to start with why. Why am I running? And then I'll talk about why I feel I'm the best candidate for this position, my background, my history, things I've done. And then we'll talk about the great momentum that we have right now in Coshocton and how we need to build off of that. So why am I running? We're in a beautiful area called West Lafayette. Raise your hand if you like or you love West Lafayette. Raise your hand. Do you love West Lafayette? Coshocton County. Do you love Coshocton County? Yes. So we all have that in common, right? I have a deep love for this area. I fell in love with it when I moved here. I fell in love with the people as I went to school here. And that love is what drove me to work in law enforcement. I wanted to make sure that families were safe and had a great opportunity for them to go to school here, to be safe here, to thrive here. So I chose a career of service. And if you don't know me, you probably know my wife, Jennifer. She's a paramedic with Coshocton County EMS. She also chose a career of service in our community. Very proud of that service. And again, it's the love for the community that drove me into that. It also helped me get the experience needed for this position, right? The experience I got through the sheriff's office is invaluable. When I was a lieutenant is when I first really started working with the county commissioners, and we worked on several large projects. The Marks radio system was probably the biggest. It was a multi-million-dollar radio upgrade through the Marks radio system. With that, I collaborated with Motorola, their engineers, the commissioner's office, other state and local entities to make this come to fruition. When I became a chief deputy is when I started handling the day-to-day operations at the sheriff's office, which included 3 multi-million-dollar budgets: the county budget, the jail budget, and the city budget. The city budget, I negotiated and worked with the city, so I have that experience of how to pull people together, how to collaborate, and how to make these budgets work for you and work for the sheriff's office. Looking forward, I see the momentum. I mean, you can't go anywhere in Coshocton right now without seeing growth happening. It's happening everywhere, and we need to seize that momentum that we have. We need to build off of it, and not just for today, but for generations to come. Again, thank you very much for coming. I have the experience, I have the knowledge, so I'm looking for you to hire me and support me as your next county commissioner.
For Dean's question, what specific steps would you take to encourage job creation, attract business, and support workforce development?
Well, that's great. First off is infrastructure. Infrastructure is the driver of everything economic that's going to happen in our community. If you can think about the North Corridor where Walmart is, once water and sewer went out that direction and a bridge was built, just think of everything that's grown up in the Walmart area since then. We now have a hospital. We now have a 300-bed senior facility. If you look in that area, you can see how much infrastructure has driven that, and that created jobs, brought in jobs. But as a county commissioner, it's important to give the people who specialize in those things, like the county engineer, like the Port Authority, like the chamber, give them the support and what they need to encourage them to do their job and be very good at it. Because at the end of the day, it's not Dean Hettinger that's going to make this happen. It's all of us together. It's we. It's a collaborative effort between the Port Authority, the Tourism Bureau, the engineer, local small government that's going to make this happen for us. Yep, thank you. I got plenty more time. I can talk about something else. Yeah, job creation is started with that economic development and businesses being brought in. But that goes through the Port Authority, giving them that umbrella, that support that they need. Also with the chamber, I mean, you create job growth and work with local businesses and how to get better and how to get stronger and create more opportunity. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Charles Selders. We'll give him 5 minutes for an introduction, and then we'll have him answer a question.
How y'all doing? My name's Charles Selders. Everybody calls me Chuck, Chucky, but on my signs it's Charles Selders. Okay, here we go. 33 years ago, I met my wife, Stacy, and we have 2 wonderful kids and 4 beautiful grandchildren. I've been employed at Kraft Foods for 31 years. I've been involved in the union at Kraft Foods for that whole time. Been a union steward. I have been on a negotiating committee. I've helped negotiate 2 very prosperous contracts. I've also been a Tuscarawas Township trustee for 25 years. Worked on various projects with the county, other neighboring townships. I'm retired as a captain of the Three Rivers Fire District, 23 years of service. And I love Coshocton County. I've been here my whole life. My family's been here for generations. I work well with other people. I've worked with other entities, other townships, the city of Coshocton, worked with the mayor, worked with the county engineer's office on a few things. I just like to stay involved, and I believe that this county needs, from the county commissioner's office, transparency. For one, they need somebody that will interact with the local people on a daily basis, not necessarily coming to the commissioner's office, but out into the public. I just would appreciate your vote on May the 5th for me for your county commissioner. Thank you.
The question for Charles is, what role should the county play in promoting tourism, entrepreneurial development, and infrastructure improvements?
Well, as everybody said before me, the infrastructure improvements are coming. You know, 2 years ago, I got with the engineer's office and submitted an improvement for this area as far as drainage goes, and they're working on it. It's just a long strung out process. But infrastructure growth is very important. You know, you're going to have businesses come up, tourism. You know, I can't think of any place that I would rather just get on my bike and ride around in Coshocton County because it's beautiful. I love this place. I mean, Coshocton County is just everything. That's about the whole thing in a nutshell. Everything's going to be good, and like I said, I just appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move into the next phase of this. We have 2 questions that each of the candidates will answer, so we can kind of get a review of how they all stand on these questions. We will rotate this, so Dean Hettinger will be first this time. As residents of the village of West Lafayette, we thought we would take a great opportunity and focus on one question just for the village of West Lafayette. So that question is, as county commissioner, how do you plan to assist the village of West Lafayette to address the ongoing stormwater issues within the village, specifically as it pertains to the Kirk drain, which actually lies outside of the village?
Thank you. That's a great question. When doing a little research about the Kirk drain, I thought, wow, that's an easy, simple answer. Why didn't they solve it already, right? For those of you that don't know, who knows what the Kirk drain is? You know the mayor knows. She's done a lot of hard work on it, and a few others. So the Kirk drain was actually a 18-inch culvert that was put in probably 1890, 1900. And it goes from pretty much Hickory Flats, which is south of the village, and it goes across the farmland and helps drain that water pooling up near Hickory Flats and flows out near Shoemakers. The residents, the farmers who put it in, they're the ones that took care of it, continued to make sure that it was cleaned out and it was in working and operating order. Eventually, you know, it's 100 years ago, eventually that drain started to have issues, and those issues weren't mitigated. People didn't follow up with it. People didn't work on it, fix it. And then 2019 happened, and we had a catastrophic rainfall. We had about 7 inches of rain in about 12 hours. And I was actually home in bed that night when I got the phone call, hey, we have some significant flooding in West Lafayette, we need you to come in. And I remember sitting up going, it rained, but there's flooding in West Lafayette? How's that even possible? And when I got here, I was shocked at how much water there was and how much significant flooding it was, and many lives were changed on that day. We came up the next day and we were able to fly the drone around. The sheriff's office had a drone. I was able to work with EMA and do some drone footage so they could see where the water was moving. But the Kirk drain is, it's not fixable. The entire system will need to be completely redone. And plenty of engineers have looked at it and given ideas and how to get this water to shed away from the village instead of, you know, having that catastrophic flooding that we had that time. Now, I have to tell you, from a law enforcement background, you can't plan for every emergency, right? If they built it for 7 inches of rain in 12 hours, we'll probably get 10 inches of rain in 12 hours, right? I mean, that's just the way things go. But making sure that we do it right, and so we do it for the long haul also. So the fixes that need to be put in place, I'm no engineer, I'm not soil and water, but the fixes that need to be in place need to be right, it needs to be done right, it needs to be done smartly, it needs to be done for a long period of time. Your mayor did a great job. She's worked hard in working with engineers and coming up with some plans. She met with the county commissioners, I believe, last week, and looking for grant funding. Because this, whether it's a small piece of it or the whole thing at once, it's going to be immensely expensive. This one project that she was looking at, that she brought to the commissioners that they moved on for grant funding, is just over $6 million. The reason it's not been fixed already is because there's a lot of players, and it's hard to get everybody on the same page, everybody together moving in the same direction. It's imperative that we do it though, and as county commissioner, it will be one of my top priorities to make sure that we get it done right. And the way we do it, honestly, is a collaborative effort. We need the property owners, the people that live in the village, they need to buy into it. The county commissioners, the engineer, soil and water, which the engineer's here tonight. We need soil and water. And then, obviously, the village in Lafayette Township. And that's a lot of people to pull together and collaborate with. One of the things that I've always been very good at throughout my career is pulling people together, making resolutions that last, and the Kirk Drain, we'll just call it the flooding issue in West Lafayette, it needs addressed. And I think I'm the best person to do that collaboration, pull it together. And also, because of the huge expense, we've got to go after our grant funding. I mean, we've got to go hard at grant funding. Just that one section is $6 million. And unless somebody here wants to write a check, we'll go in that direction. Right? They're all waving at me, so I'm about out of time. I'll leave you with this one last thought. In order for this to happen, it's a collaborative effort. We all need to work together to make it happen. Thank you.
We've been pretty serious up to this point, so now it's time for me to come in and ask a question that's been on my head that is also a question that you haven't been prepared for, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. My question for you, if you could see any musical artist, alive or dead, alive in concert, who would it be?
Do I get to pick when? Like how old they were?
The better explanation, the better.
Okay. Led Zeppelin. For sure. Early on, their early years. In fact, there's a YouTube video. It's live. It's when they first formed, and you can look at it. You can watch it yourself. My son and I have a lot of fun when he's home from college or he's home. We will look for live YouTube videos, and it has to be live, and it has to be monumental. And that Led Zeppelin video is one of my favorite. I love Led Zeppelin. I feel bad Pink Floyd, I love you too, but definitely Led Zeppelin in the early years, for sure. Thank you.
All right, we have the same question about the Kirk Drain for Charles Selders. He has 5 minutes as well.
I think I said this early on. 2 years ago, I submitted a drainage project to the county engineer's office. And it stretched from Shoemaker Farm to the county line. And this was involved in it. There was an issue with some numbers, some dollar amounts, and the whole thing got tossed. So our county engineer that we have now, last year submitted some numbers, and they were too high. First they were too low, they were too high. So this year, I called him a couple weeks ago, and asked him about it because I check on it periodically. And he's going to throw a number at the Skinning Watershed somewhere in the middle. And hopefully the grant dollars are available for the, what's that called, Josh? No, what they do first. Study, yeah, assessment, that's right. Thank you. But I guess that's a horrendous amount of money too. It is going to take a lot of funding for it. And somebody asked me, well, why can't you do anything about it now? You know, it's hard to do anything about it when you're sitting in the back seat. So, you know, I've done all I can. I check on it, and whenever I heard that it was brought up to the commissioner's office last Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays ago, I heard that a certain person was there. So I called Javen. He's a person that works in Troy Balderson's office, and Javen talked very positive about it, about funding, and I think that he honestly believes that this is it's going to get fixed. It's going to get fixed, and as a county commissioner, I'm definitely going to stay on top of it because it means a lot to me. I mean, I'm a real stickler when it comes to drainage, and this is a definite problem. I came up here whenever this happened and helped clean some of the mess up, so I know what it's all about. Thank you.
Same question. We got to know your musical artist taste. Same question, alive or dead. Who would you like to see live in concert?
I'm going to have to say, wow. Pink Floyd. You know, yeah, Pink Floyd. And I'm a vast. I don't care what kind of music I listen to. I'm a music lover, and whether I get in my truck, get in my wife's car, get on my bike, I'm listening to music. So yeah, we'll go Floyd.
Next up is Mr. Chuck Ellis. He has the same question about the drainage issue, and apparently the same question about a concert.
Okay, I told you earlier, I moved here in the 1980s, but the problem with West Lafayette drainage, it was way back, much before my time being here. And you longtime residents have seen many floods over the years. I was here in 2019. A couple of our employees' homes were affected. And like Chuck said, I was down here helping clean out the basement, get some sump pumps set up, and was amazed at how I think that really impacted the village of West Lafayette. There was people from out of state who came in here to help, and there was people just doing everything. Mike Maslowski, our superintendent, was out there a muddy mess, carrying wet furniture and rugs and filling up dumpsters. I think the way the village came together at that time was amazing. So I firsthand, I know what happened here, and I have had several conversations with Jessie, and she has shown me the engineering study that she was able to get done with the help of the village council and some grant money. She sent it to me, I read it, and there's 3 very specific things mentioned in there that I think will have a real good impact. One is the retention pond and drainage line behind the high school. If you know, there's a retention pond and a wetland there, and that is not able to absorb all the rainwater that comes through in these major rain events. So the one aspect of the plan was to increase the size of those retention ponds, and the drainage ditch that then takes that water away is in disrepair and needs to be addressed. The other end of the county, that'd be on the, kind of on the west side of the village. Over on the east side of the village by the Lafayette Mills Apartments, those are regularly flooded when there's a significant rain event. And there's also an undersized retention pond at that end of the village as well. So part of the plan that Jesse has presented and is asking for funding for would be to increase the size of that retention pond with drainage as well to solve the problem on the east side of West Lafayette. And then the Kirk Street drain area, yeah, that's an area that's primed for development, but it cannot even be thought about developed until that water problem gets taken care of. So additional drainage, the old drainage, as Dean mentioned, is inadequate, probably not working well at all. That needs to be addressed in another separate drainage area. There was no plan for retention down there, but there is drainage in that plan. And I just got to say, compliments to Jesse. Jesse, I think, I'm not sure, but I think the 2019 flood kind of motivated you to run for mayor because you were tired of seeing this stuff happen and no one address it. And the engineer's office, the commissioner's office, the trustee's office could not get this project going, and I think Jesse deserves the credit for where we are right now. She's got the ball down on the 10-yard line, folks. If the Balderson office pushes this through for the financing that it's going to take, I think there's a real good chance this can happen, and it's going to take care of a lot of problems. Now, just before we met, there's other water problems in this area. This wouldn't address all of them, but it would address the areas right in West Lafayette, I think, and the neighboring properties right around it. If you go on out east, there's opportunities for development out there. The Portrait development is a problem, right, ma'am? You told me about it beforehand, okay? That's really not going to be helped by this project, but it needs another project down there. So, folks, I just want compliments to Jesse for what she's done so far, and the commissioners have bought in, Soil and Water is in on it, and Josh, our engineer, is also taking it over, so it's becoming a county project, but Jesse got it that far. So compliments to her. We'll wait to see what Balderson says and see if the funding comes through.
Very another question coming. If you would see any artist, alive or dead, live in concert, who would it be?
I got to think about this. And it's a YouTube video that I watched that Leonard Skinner, in July of 1978, I saw him doing a concert. And unfortunately, they were in a plane crash about 2 months after that video was shot. So I'm talking about the original Leonard Skinner guys. Not the new ones or the current ones, but the old original ones. That would be my favorite. Freebird.
Next up for question 2, we will start with Charles Selders. He gets to go first this time. This question will be for all 3 of the candidates. The question is, what do you see as the biggest challenges facing Coshocton County right now, and how will you address them?
Let's see. It's the last question. I know it's the last one.
The biggest challenge I see in Coshocton County right now is, and I might make some people mad on this, but it's ridiculous spending. There's some things that's, being bought with taxpayers' money that shouldn't be. And how I'm going to address that is you need somebody in there to not necessarily say no, but not necessarily say yes all the time either. And I just get tired because I'm a taxpayer too. Of, once they're out of money, well, we got to put a levy on it. I think that if they watch how they spend their money, there'll be money there. Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Chuck Ellis, you're next in line. Same question.
Okay, I already addressed some of what I think needs to happen and what are the challenges for Coshocton County. And I would agree that spending is something that needs to be gotten under control. Going back to the taxpayers for additional tax money, just after we've experienced property tax increases in the last couple of years, is not something that anybody wants to entertain. But just watching spending is not going to get it done. We have to attract new investment in this county. That can be business investment, that can be housing investment, that can be family investment in new homes. We have got to bring more money into this county somehow. And we can do that. There's a lot of good things that make us a place that people will invest money in. You know, we're 45 minutes away from some of the biggest developments in the state of Ohio, in New Albany. You know, you can get there in 45 minutes. And if you look at property values in Coshocton, we're significantly lower than surrounding counties. So if you wanted to work in New Albany area, why not live in Coshocton and drive down there? And again, when we talk about property values and taxes, okay, no one is happy about the tax increases we've seen the last couple of years. We know that. And the whole state of Ohio is kind of in an uproar about that with the ballot initiative that's going to take place. But the fact of the matter is, if you compare our property tax rates to the surrounding counties, Circle and Surround, Licking, Knox, all the way around to Muskegon County, tax rates in Coshocton County are lower than any of those counties. So if you were so inclined to want to locate a business in an area that is going to possibly grow, why not come to the county where the property values are lower, the property taxes are lower? But we just need to find those people and get them here. Now, we do have a port authority, and they're an economic development resource. And there's 4 aspects to that economic development: create, attract, retain, and expand. That's what we have to go on. It's not just finding government grants to bring projects in. We need to find private investment that wants to create jobs, attract jobs, retain jobs, and expand the jobs that are here. I mean, we have a lot of businesses that want to grow in this county. We need to support them. Do you guys realize that when you spend money in Coshocton County and you look on your tax on your receipt, and there's a tax at the very bottom, 2% stays in Coshocton County? I don't know if you knew that or not. Now, some of the projects are tax exempt, okay? But when you go to the restaurant or you go to Coshocton Lumber or wherever you want to go, and you have a tax add-on to your bill, 2% of that stays here. So we got to shop in Coshocton County. That's going to bring more money into the county, more revenues for the commissioners to work with. And yes, we need to control spending, but spending is not going to get us out of this dilemma. We have to find ways to bring more money into this county, and business development and investment is, I think, the way to do it. So I think my experience in the business world lends it to that. Now, there's another question they gave us, and I have another minute? How much do I have? 2 minutes, okay, good. When you talk about county finances, one of the questions they gave us to consider is, how about transparency? We all want to know what the county commissioners are doing with the money, right? Well, what I found out in business, if I ask the people in our finance department, tell me how we're doing on the expenses this year, I'll get a spreadsheet with lines and rows and columns of numbers that are very hard to discern, okay? And if you look at the county budget, we have a $20 million plus general budget, and if you want to look at that, it'd make your head spin. But you take those numbers, run them through data analytics, come out with some easy to read things like pie charts, bar graphs, trend lines, and now you can understand what's happening with county money. That's never been offered out there. It's not that hard to do, but anybody can understand it. When you see those kind of graphs given to you, you can understand expenses for a department or the entire county, both on the expenditure side and the revenue side. So I'd like to see something happen like that to help bring out the accountability and transparency that we'd all like to see in the Commissioner's office. Thank you.
next. Dean Hettinger, you last to go here on this question. You need me to read it or you got it?
Yeah, read it one more time.
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing Coshocton County right now, and how will you address them?
Yes, sir, thank you. Absolutely, budgeting and finance is the biggest issue right now. County agencies were cut 4.5%. And, you know, it's easy to say it, but I've lived it. I understand what that means. Somehow they were able to not lay anybody off. But making every single county agency whole, I think, is one of the first things that we've got to do. You know, bring it down to a personal level. I know that it's very, very difficult for the sheriff to swallow a 4.5% deduction in his budget. In fact, he's been running with one county guy, a midnight shift, one officer for the entire county. That's not safe for the officer, certainly not safe for any of us. So fixing that budget so each county entity can be whole, it's paramount. We got to roll up our sleeves and make that happen. I look around, I see several of the county leaders here, and they're nodding their head because they understand. It's hard to get your budget cut necessarily, but somehow we got to get them the funding next year. The second part of that is absolutely growing our economy, and that comes with the personal relationships that a county commissioner has throughout the county, whether it be the Port Authority, whether it be with the Bureau of Tourism. You know, Coshocton County brings in millions of dollars in tourism. So having those personal relationships with them, the county engineer and making sure infrastructure moves forward, county engineer, soil and water to fix issues here in West Lafayette with the water issues. These are things that are paramount for us bringing in more tax dollars in the future. We've done a great job in bringing business in. We have on the county. Right now, I open this with this. No matter where you go, there are really cool things happening. Coshocton County is up and coming. I don't think we've been stale. I think we've really been moving, and we're getting supercharged now. We have such good momentum. Now we really need to take that momentum and propel us into the next phase of this, right? The water and sewer going out to Conesville is going to be huge. It's going to create so much more development out that way. And talking with the Port Authority, they have some really exciting things up and coming that we'll see come to fruition very soon. So seizing that momentum, continuing to build off of it, that's paramount. And I've heard so many people say negative things about stuff that's going on, like the roundabout or the beautification or whatever. But in a conversation with tourism, she said something to me that really stuck. And she said it starts with the first visit. It starts with the first visit. The first time a young couple or somebody comes to Coshocton County, whether it's Roscoe, the fair, multiple campgrounds, whether they come here to hunt or enjoy the concert series in the summer, we have so many great things going on. It starts with that one visit. If we can get a family here and there that comes to Coshocton County and sees, wow, this is exciting. We've got some really cool things going on. It's up and coming. I want to be a part of it. I want to move here. I want to bring my family and I want to work here. So that's the second part of it, continuing that momentum and really building off of it. And we're at an exciting time right now. We are poised to really grow. And that's exciting for me. What happened, you know, in the JED going out towards Walmart, that was the beginning, in my mind, of really things to come. And now we have a secondary JED going out to Conesville. We have water going out towards Warsaw, and I can see, and I know several other infrastructure issues that we need to take on. Some more areas that we can work on. We can go out 541 maybe, and that will continue to propel us into the future. So, two parts. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that concludes the meet and greet with the question and answer. I want to hand the mic over to Trevor here real quick. He's got something he'd like to discuss, and then we'll close this out.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Trevor Hawkins. I am the Vice President of the West Lafayette Chamber of Commerce. And I come to you with a very important message. This is America's 250th birthday. I don't know if you guys knew that. Very exciting. Woo! It's pretty damn cool. Because of that, for the Homecoming Festival this year, we are trying to put on a very, very good fireworks show. Now the problem is that because it's the 250th birthday, the firework prices across the board are getting more expensive, a decent bit more expensive than they were last year. We are still trying to raise money, so we are able to have our fireworks at the end of the Homecoming Festival. And so we are doing another raffle. We have about 200 tickets left. It is $25 per ticket, and the winner will receive a $600 Rural Cane gift card. There is not a set drawing date. It is just when we get the tickets sold, so there's about 200 left. We have a QR code up here. If you would like to purchase a ticket, and if you would like to pay with cash, we can do that as well. Thank you very much. Come find me if you would like to buy a ticket. I'll be over here.
All right, as we close this out, we're going to let everybody kind of mingle. You can talk to the candidates, ask them personal questions, small groups, individuals, it's up to you guys. We'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Thank the candidates. We have 3 very great choices here. You guys will have a tough decision to make. Also, thank Bridgewood Schools for letting us use the gymnasium tonight. And go ahead and we'll let you guys mingle and talk to the candidates. Thank you all for coming very much.